Hello, this is Rebecca Renfro, and you are listening to Enigmatic Anomalies EA Radio.
Welcome to Enigmatic Anomalies, EA Radio. I'm your host, Terry Ling, and tonight we'll be speaking with Sierra Sky. Sierra is an author and speaker, and also a spirit rescuer, as well as a paranormal investigator and Reiki master. She's also the creator of Spirit Rescuers social media group. She was originally born in England and moved to America when she was 10 years old. And tonight, she's our guest on EA Radio, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Michael DeFoy, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are the Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Welcome back to EA Radio. Sierra, are you with us?
I'm here.
Good. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So there's so much about you. I hardly know where to start. But I think one of the most interesting points in your bio that I just read is that you are a spirit rescuer. And for the people that are listening tonight, maybe you can elaborate on that. Tell us about what you do as a spirit rescuer.
Okay, as a spirit rescuer, what we do is we rescue earthbound spirits. Spirits are always around me, and they're always coming through. But I work with a whole entire remote team, and our remote team is gathered up with my team members all having a traumatic experience like I did with my haunting. And what we do is we're go-to people for not only our client, but for many paranormal teams that run into a problem with an earthbound spirit. We also go in and we clear and we teach the clients how to not let this happen. We give them those tools that they need. So wherever I go, it seems like I pick up spirits, and sometimes they just stand in line wanting to talk to me. Now, mostly what we do is with traumatic deaths, meaning that if, for example, it's a car wreck or, it's something traumatic where it's just a sudden death where they're here one minute and they're gone the next. We also handle the unfinished business. If they want to get a message to their family, we do that as well. Mm-hmm. And so we do really a lot of things when it comes to spirit rescue. It's not just rescuing that earthbound spirit. It's also working with the spirit and sending messages to the family from the spirit.
So are you talking to the spirits, not only giving messages, but are you moving them forward into the light?
Of course we are. We've done the Oklahoma bombing site where I went to Oklahoma. When I first started this all happened from a haunting when I was a skeptic, and I promised God, if he would get me out of my haunting, then I would dedicate my life to helping those being haunted.
Oh, that's amazing.
It just kind of escalated from there. So I got a mentor, because people don't understand, when you go through a haunting, especially as a skeptic, you have no one to turn to. Nobody believes you. I went through spiritual counseling. I went through all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I realized, and some people, this is it. You can't clear or anything like that, because it's their lesson that they need to learn. So I actually went through a lot to get to where I am today.
Well, what about this haunting that you went through? Can you share briefly with us a little bit about that?
Yes, my haunting was in 2004, and it was in an apartment complex in Fort Worth, Texas. It was really bad. It started with this urgency to pull off the side of the road, find the cemetery in Thurber, Texas, which was a ghost mining town. Well, when I found the cemetery, my heartstrings were pulled on, and it was actually a cemetery with 700 unmarked graves of children that died in, the late 1820s to 1921 of childhood diseases. I didn't know. I was just so pulled to the cemetery at the time that I took a piece of a headstone. I didn't know that you're not supposed to do that at the time, because, like I said, I was a skeptic. But my haunting escalated from there. I ended up taking the headstone back to the girl, and I kind of adopted the cemetery and cleaned it up and made a promise that I would always be there if the children needed me. Well, one night I saw 11 children in my living room, and I freaked.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I didn't know what was going on, so my husband and I decided that we were going to go get a Ouija board and communicate with these children. So we did that off of the Toys R Us shelf, and we didn't know anything about protecting ourselves or closing the board or anything like that. So at first the child came through and I was talking to her. But then other things happened too. We were doing shots of crown with the Ouija board, which I didn't know at that time. That just opens you up even more. Well, finally a spirit came through. His name was Ron, and he died in the Twin Towers. And he told me that he had fallen off of a ladder. And, I believed him, because everything that I was asking, he was validating. And at the time, my living room was dedicated to 9/11. Uh-huh. So I found myself more and more isolated with the board. Every chance I got, I would get on and I would talk. Well, turned out that it wasn't an earthbound. It wasn't anything like that. What it was an incubus. So my haunting escalated from the incubus to being attacked 24/7. And when I talk about an incubus or a succubi, incubus is one that rapes a woman, that sexually assaults the woman.
Right.
So it got to where I'd lay in bed in the covers. You could feel it coming up. And I didn't know at the time, and I preach this, that you feed, if you have fear, then you feed the incubus, and I had no clue about that. And I remember just crying in my bed, leave me alone. Things started happening. I closed off my entire apartment. I was actually staying in my living room at the time. And it got to the point where a dark shadow chased me down my hallway, and it was very heavy. People that came to my apartment told me they couldn't breathe in my apartment because the air was so heavy. I literally believed that the pits of hell was opened. So he chased me into my into my bedroom, and I jumped on my bed, and I remember being so scared and crying and praying to God, just help me. And I got no help whatsoever. I even put on my window, angels help me, please. And I was journaling, doing automatic writing, which I didn't even know I was doing. So it got to the point one day where I went to a metaphysical shop because I wasn't going home. I used to sit in an IHOP restaurant from 12 to 6 a.m., so scared to even unlock my door in my apartment to go in there. And they gave me some tools. So I went home, and see, what I teach the client now is they read your thoughts. They know exactly what you're thinking. So you have to change your plan at the very last minute, and that's what I did. And I was led to put a circle of candles around, and I had a razor in my hand. It was either I'm going to take myself, I'm going to end this by slicing my wrist, or I was going to fight back. Well, I decided to fight back, so I was led to put a circle of candles, tea candles around, and I jumped into it, and I had gospel music on my computer, and I remember humbling myself before God, just saying, please, please get me out of my haunting. I promise I will dedicate my life to those being haunted. And that was 10 years ago, next year.
Wow.
So I woke up, and it was weird because all the tea candles were completely burnt down. And I woke up in the fetal position, and it was over. And I remember opening my hand because I'd gotten a peace stone rock from the metaphysical store, and in the rock was this face and a gargoyle inside my hand. So it was over, but it took me another 3 years to understand what happened to me, because every time something even brushed against me that I couldn't see, I would freak, literally just freak. It's happening again. It's happening again. Well, it turned out that all these gifts during my haunting was training me to do what I'm able to do today. In other words, spirit rescuer that knows the different energy signatures that come along with spirit make a good spirit rescuer. So I wrote a book, which is being published in 2014, and I revamped it, and I lined myself back up, and that's exactly what I've done. I put a whole team together through my Network and Spirit Rescuer site, all having traumatic experiences like mine. So we're known all over the world I'm known as the real-life ghost whisperer, but we're known all over the world as spirit rescuers, and we've never charged for anything that we've done, because I believe if a family is being haunted, then they need that help.
Now, what was the book title of the book that you're writing that's going to be published?
Well, I self-published it. Now it's going to be published, and we've revamped it completely. And it's called Through the Eyes of a Spirit Rescuer, The Incredible Journey Begins. And it takes you through my haunting. Because when I went through my haunting, when I was writing the first chapter in my book, I revisited my apartment and talked to my neighbors about the activity that had gone on after I left my apartment. So, and then, I've traveled to Alaska and New Hampshire. When I'm led to go somewhere, I go, because there's always a reason why I am there. Mm-hmm. So, and, it goes by Sierra Sky, and what Sierra Sky means, which is my name, in the paranormal world, it's the mountains leading to heaven, which means they go through me, and I send them on to healing. So I've been dedicating my life ever since.
That is really very interesting, because I work with Kevin Keel, and we do demonology, so we do basically the same thing. I didn't realize how much alike it actually is. So, boy, I applaud you. That is no easy task, and it really takes a lot of focus and determination, a huge amount of dedication of our lives, because it does encompass so much time. That's awesome.
Yes, well, what I did was I got with a mentor, Amma Nazra, and she is the one, when I thought the demon came back, it was actually another one. You have to understand, when I came out of my haunting, I had 3 attachments attached to me.
Yeah, that can happen.
What people don't understand is, though you may be haunted in your house, if it's an attachment, it's going to go everywhere that you go. Mm-hmm. So we try to teach that as well. But what she taught me was that you get in and you get out. In other words, when we clear a house, we keep it simple. We get in, we get out. We leave no room for error. It's just that quick, and it's gotten to be with me after almost 10 years that it's just a 1, 2, 3 process. It's very, very simple for me. In the beginning, I didn't have a team under me, and I was doing this 24/7 and working full-time as well. So it was like I never got any rest. But as I put my team together, and we're a remote team, meaning that we don't have to be on location to clear a house or to help a family or even in another paranormal investigation team. We can do it strictly from where we are.
That is amazing. I'd really like to talk more about that. We've got to take a quick break here. So for those of you listening, don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with more from Sierra Sky.
(4,734 UFO sightings in 2007. 854 abductions by aliens or unknown species reported by American and British citizens. Press information about collisions with passenger aircraft and UFOs that has been kept from the public knowledge for years. And only one trusted source on information from some of the top UFO researchers in the world. Exclusive information that cannot be found anywhere else on the planet. Trusted, connected, accurate. TheUFOstore.com. Expand your personal library with fast shipping and instant downloadable information from the largest selection of UFO products on the internet by going to theUFOstore.com or call on the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week order line at 541-523-2630. The truth is out there, and theUFOstore.com has it.
My name is Michael the Fourth, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Welton. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
Welcome back to EA Radio. And wow, it continues. This is just really interesting stuff here. We were talking about Sierra clearing a house with her team when she does it, and you don't even have to leave the house. You don't have to leave the house to clear someone else's house. I'd like to hear about that, Sierra. Share that with us.
Okay, well, with my team, you understand this is a promise that I made to God, and it's amazing how my team has come together. What we do is when a client gets a hold of me, and usually they've gone through so much turmoil, is what we do is I automatically, first thing is ask for pictures. On my team, I have Marley's, and I've been working with her for 8 years, and she reads the pictures to me, and we take the necessary steps that we need to take there. She goes in, the spirit comes forward, she finds out who's there, she finds out what's going on. And see, before I used to do this all myself. So after we've actually done the picture reading and we go back and forth because spirit comes to me and comes to her and we validate what we're getting, then I take the necessary steps. Either I go to Cindy Lepori, who is my main clearer, or I go to Scott Thompson, who is my demonologist. And we work from there. Scott is the astral traveler, so what he does is he travels into the house, and he does the hands-on work. And then Cindy also does the same thing. So it depends on who I can get to first or where I'm led to and which team members that I'm going to use. Now, my team consists of probably 10 people right now that are all over the United States. So it depends on the case. And then what we do is we go in, we clear. I strictly work with the client now. I don't have to do all of that anymore if I don't want to. Sometimes I'm compelled to. Like I just had a case in California that I can't really go into a lot of details, but he contacted me through my personal website, and this is just my site where my bio came from, and he tried to get a hold of many other people, but mine was the only email that was allowed to go through. Usually when we have a client like that, our response is immediately. I immediately get on it. I don't let them wait because I know what it feels like to be haunted and to be alone and to be going through all of this.
Exactly.
So from there, we do the pictures, and then we go to my demonologist or to Cindy, and we get it done. Usually it's a real quick thing. My mentor taught me that you keep things simple. You get in, you get out. There's no room to make any mistakes. Now, when I do this, I go through my spirit guides. And, because we handle such bad energy a lot, this is just on the clearing, what we do is I ask my guides to bring only that of the light in. That way they hold everything dark back so I'm not manipulated and I can understand what is going on through my guides. But it's a very easy process for us because we've been doing it for so long, and I know this is my path, and I've humbled myself on my path for years. And my main goal is to help those being haunted, and it seems like as we move forward, there are more and more people that are having paranormal activity going on. So my job is I want to clear. I want to bring peace to the family, and I want to teach them the tools of not letting this happen again.
Yeah, that's definitely exactly what we do, and I have some questions. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you ever had anything attack you while you've gone in and gone out? Is that what you mean, get in quickly and then go out quickly?
Yes. Nope. I can actually say in the 10 years, knock on wood, after my haunting, because I know all the energy signatures, I've never had a problem again. And we handle a lot of different cases.
We had a case just this past Sunday, and we went to the home and cleared it. There was absolutely no problem. But we had brought someone with us that actually was influential in setting the entire appointment up. And when we dropped her back off at her home, we went in just for a moment to visit, sing a couple carols on the piano. And as I was walking through one of her rooms, she and Kevin were in front of me, and someone grabbed my shoulder and squeezed it. And it was very prominent. And I was trying to think to myself, now, who would grab my shoulder from behind me? I can see her and Kevin in front of me, so who's behind me? And I said right out loud, who is that touching me? And as I turned around, of course, there was no one there. And that's when she said, oh, well, I've never told you this. Of course, I've never been to her house before. But she said, I've never told you this, but there's a ley line in my house. And there's a woman that appears on this ley line and walks back and forth on this line from her mother's bedroom into the kitchen. And she said, I think it was possibly the woman that grabbed you by the shoulder. And I immediately rebuked that and said, you may not touch me. And, you may not interact with me. And I created boundaries immediately and sent her on her way. I was very surprised that something like that happened. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if you move from one location to where you were working on a case and you were going to another location, I come across a lot of people that have that kind of activity, especially from ley lines. Now, when we talk about you did the right thing, but we also have to understand that nothing has the right, I don't care, nothing has the right to violate your space.
Exactly.
That is important. So you did the right thing, whether you rebuke it or you just say, back up from my space. You're not allowed to invade my space. You definitely did the right thing, and that's what people don't understand is, when I don't understand why people provoke. I have a very hard problem.
Oh, I do too.
When people provoke a spirit, because what they're doing, yes, they may want to sign, but you don't have to provoke a spirit to get that sign from spirit. All you have to do is ask. So, you did exactly what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Why she was there sounds to me like, it had to do probably either with the house or with the land. I find a lot of cases where a lot has to do, though it's not with the house, it has to do with ley lines, and it has to do with portals, and it actually has to do with the land. Now, there's a difference between residual energy and an actual spirit coming forward. So you have to kind of figure out, okay, is this residual? Is it happening over and over and over again? Or is this actually an intelligent one that is interacting with you at the time? So, and when you, this is important for paranormal investigators or anybody else, when you communicate with spirit, keep it simple. Go with the first thing that you hear. Because if you start questioning yourself on, did I hear that? Is this what you said? Then it opens you up for nothing but confusion. So when I teach and I mentor, because I'm getting ready to teach others how to spirit rescue, I have a major, major goal that I want to do. I'm not going to go into what my goal is. But, you know, so if you keep it simple, you go with the first thing that you hear from spirit. Ask your guides, is this true or is this not? Your guides aren't going to lead you wrong.
Yeah.
So if you keep it, you know, I can't stress that enough, especially with clearing. When we clear a house, I strictly work with Archangel Michael. He is the only archangel that I work with, because I know that Michael, during my haunting and when I was journaling or automatic writing, which I don't do anymore because I have such clear hearing, I went back and read when I was closing out my haunting chapter in my book, and Michael's name came across my book many, many times, that told me later that though we feel like we're alone when we're going through something traumatic like that, we're not necessarily alone.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's really. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, we're never alone, and the room is usually full of angels. We just don't always see them. Now, let me ask you something. For those who are listening, how could they get in touch with you? I know you're a co-host of the Spirit Rescuers Blog Talk Radio, but do you have a site that you could share with the listeners?
Sure. First off, you can get me on Sierra Sky on Facebook, but I also have a Spirit Rescuers fan page on Facebook as well. But I have a networking site that teaches many different tools, which is www.spiritrescue.ning.com. And that site was actually created on a vision on 1/11/08. I nested it and brought it up on 1/11. So there are many different ways that you can get a hold of me. Also my personal site, but I wouldn't recommend emailing me on my personal site. If you have a problem or if you need to get in touch with me, then I would go through the fan page, or either I would go through my Sierra Sky. Just email me.
Okay.
And trust. If somebody needs help, I'm going to pick it up.
Good. Yeah, you'll be led to it. And what about your Blog Talk Radio?
Blog Talk Radio was actually brought up when when I first published my book that we revamped and published again. I no longer co-host Spirit Rescuers Radio. In fact, it just sits there because that was a path that I don't want to go back into co-hosting. What I would like to do is radio shows and be a guest on radio shows so that I can teach others or even just talk about my haunting. But it lines me back up with getting the word out there on these things can happen to you. And it gets me out there doing radio shows to where if somebody is going through a haunting, then they can get a hold of me immediately after the radio show and we can go in and clear that, whatever is going on. So I Spirit Rescuers Blog Talk Radio is just kind of sitting there for right now. I may go back at some later date, but I think my schedule is getting to be really, really busy, especially with 2014 coming up. So it just kind of sits there, but I have more of a pull to be a guest on other radio shows to get this word out there.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, like ours, Enigmatic Anomalies Radio. We're certainly glad to have you. Well, also, you started out just being a paranormal investigator. Is that right?
I actually put my team together. I had an infield team, too, when I was in Texas. So I became a paranormal investigator as I learned spirit rescue from my mentor. And it was more for me to understand what happened to me during my haunting. In order for me to understand what happened to me, I had to go back in and investigate. And then I just found myself being called to all these different places to investigate, so I started doing that. Now, what I'm thinking about doing is, as I went through a divorce in 2013, I lined myself back up and got all the negative out of my life so that I can go with 2014, and I've been really, really led to do maybe another infield team, but it depends on how much work I have to do as to if I'm going to do that again, because my main goal is spirit rescue and clearing up the world.
There's an awful lot of clearing up that needs to be done out there, that's for sure.
There is, I can't even begin to tell you what I want to do, but I haven't done it yet. It's just these things that come to me that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, because the world needs to be healed. Earthbound spirits, they need to go into healing. They don't need to be trapped. They can't move forward if they're trapped. Now, I will say with my clearer, and this is something that she does that I wish I could do, and I'm going to learn how to do this, but when we clear a house, if there is bad energy there, what she does is she puts it into a containment holding place for further education and further healing. Our success is when they go into containment, into a holder, they can't get back out. And I notice a lot of clients that fear kicks in, and most of the time it's just a residual thing, because it takes time for that residual to decrease, especially after going through a horrific haunting like that. So I believe that every spirit that is earthbound needs to go into healing. Another example would be the Newport, Connecticut shooting. Well, when the shooting happened, what I did, I called on the children that I had rescued in the past to meet them and to carry them into the light. I put it on Facebook. I put it out there because that was the message that I was getting. So what I do is I have conduits that I use that I've already crossed over. Like if it's let's say an Indian case, let's say that they're Indians and it's the land, like in Colorado or wherever. I've rescued earthbound Indians as well that were afraid to go into light because of the white man and what white man did. So I call back on those to escort them. Or what you probably do is when you rescue a spirit, you call on their family to come forward. Once the spirit sees their family, they're going to go. So, there's a lot of, depending on the case, there's a lot of different solutions that me and my team use to reunite and get them into healing.
Right. Wow. Lots of information. I'm a little taken back there by the containment. Usually we move spirits right into the light. I didn't know about containment, so that's really an interesting concept. I'm sure others have heard about it. I just haven't. But that's amazing. What I'd like to do, because we're running so short on time, this time has just gone by so fast. I want to thank you, first of all, so much for being with us and sharing your story on Enigmatic Anomalies Radio. But can you just give the call letters one last time for any of the listeners so that they can contact you?
Sure. Like I said, you can just punch in Spirit Rescuers on Facebook, and we have a fan page that I'm always on it, and so are my admins, because I have a whole admin team, too, that takes care of the things that I don't have time to take care of. Or you can email me under Sierra Sky on Facebook. Though my Facebook is always completely congested with friends, you can still get emails across to me. Or my Spirit Rescuers networking site, which is www.spiritrescue.ning.com. If it's an emergency case, privately email me at tdakota1962@yahoo.com, because I check that mail every day, several times a day.
Okay. Well, boy, if you ever get to the Tampa Bay area, we would love to have you here on Enigmatic Anomalies TV. We do radio as well as TV, and we'd love to have you be a guest with us here. So please keep that in your mind. And it was so good speaking with you tonight. I want to say to all the listeners, Happy New Year. This is our New Year's, pre-New Year's, I guess, New Year's Eve radio broadcast that we're doing today with Sierra Sky. And unfortunately, the time has just run out on us. So thank you again, and thank you all for listening. And everybody have a Happy New Year.
And thank you so much for having me on the radio.
You're very welcome.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Hello, this is Rebecca Renfro, and you are listening to Enigmatic Anomalies EA Radio.
Welcome to Enigmatic Anomalies, EA Radio. I'm your host, Terry Ling, and tonight we'll be speaking with Sierra Sky. Sierra is an author and speaker, and also a spirit rescuer, as well as a paranormal investigator and Reiki master. She's also the creator of Spirit Rescuers social media group. She was originally born in England and moved to America when she was 10 years old. And tonight, she's our guest on EA Radio, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Michael DeFoy, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are the Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Welcome back to EA Radio. Sierra, are you with us?
I'm here.
Good. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So there's so much about you. I hardly know where to start. But I think one of the most interesting points in your bio that I just read is that you are a spirit rescuer. And for the people that are listening tonight, maybe you can elaborate on that. Tell us about what you do as a spirit rescuer.
Okay, as a spirit rescuer, what we do is we rescue earthbound spirits. Spirits are always around me, and they're always coming through. But I work with a whole entire remote team, and our remote team is gathered up with my team members all having a traumatic experience like I did with my haunting. And what we do is we're go-to people for not only our client, but for many paranormal teams that run into a problem with an earthbound spirit. We also go in and we clear and we teach the clients how to not let this happen. We give them those tools that they need. So wherever I go, it seems like I pick up spirits, and